the questions of the future. But a question for now is okay. I'll just throw in the topic, winery architecture. What do you think? What do you think? What would be the inspiration that wineries should follow? Where should they take inspiration from?
Okay, that's a huge switch from the from the space, the Mars houses to the winery houses. Then maybe we should combine the questions. What would a winery look on Mars? Next
Probably it
level
would
of
be just a glass dome under which we can create the ecosystem needed for wines, and then create some very interesting wines. Just
we should do
imagine,
that. We should do that.
man, we will do that.
The
What?
Mars wineries.
Whoa.
The first wine on Mars.
Okay, Bakator from Mars.
Bacator from Mars. That is going to be
Just
crazy.
imagine the cost of producing it.
Yeah, the
Just
bottles probably would
forget
be.
about just building the whole dome and cultivating the wines there. Just think about, okay, we have to create the wine there, store it in barrels there, and then we have to bring it back back to Earth and then sell it. What would be the price of just transporting wine from Mars to Earth?
Yeah, probably it would pass the Romane Conti as well, but not sure. Maybe the Romane Conti would still be more expensive. And yeah, that is a crazy idea. But back to the winery architecture, I think it's very difficult and very interesting. Obviously, there is the classical idea, the French idea of having a chateau, which is a castle, which is usually a house, and maybe the winery is attached to it or under it, or in some combination. Nowadays, in with modern wineries, they kept the chateau as a building or a hotel or an administrative building, and they relocated the winery into a modern building. In the new world, a lot of wineries use some extremely interesting and shocking architecture that is developed to uh, attract visitors. I think we could do an episode or a segment on this, checking out interesting wineries and reviewing them. For example, in Australia, there is the Darenberg winery, which has the building is a huge giant Rubik's cube like structure cube, and the top is twisted a little bit. And the winemaker, his name is escaping me. I can't tell you the name, but in the next episode, if we check on this, we are going to show him. He's a very interesting, quirky guy. He has a museum. He makes art. Very funny, and they created this structure, and actually, that structure is makes. I'm not saying that their wines are not good, but the structure brings a lot of attention to the winery, and they have lots of visitors. So this idea is very prominent nowadays. In Hungary, also, we have a lot of interesting winery buildings that are an interesting place to visit. But like in regarding functionality, I think these two things nowadays, as I mentioned, are very separate. The winery building that you visit, like the structure that welcomes tourists, and the structure for making wine is quite different. But if you can integrate those, I mean, a lot of places integrate the two things. It can be very interesting, and there are lots of creativity to be applied.
I think there's a lot of things that could be learned from winery architecture in general. So as I see it and as I understood it, as you explained, in wineries there's the machine part, that is basically the wine cellar where you store and produce the wines. And then there's the chateau that's attached to it that creates the image of the winery. So, for example, in the Australian winery that you mentioned, the cube creates an image of uniqueness. Okay, this is a winery that's not like the others. This is a special kind of thing, and it brings tourists and it interests the people. And then there's the machine part of the structure that produces the wines. And so it's in harmony basically, because you have the part that tells the story, creates the image, and then there's the part that's the machine, and they live together. And I think that we could incorporate this thinking in general. That okay, if you have a house, there's a part which reflects you and your values, and then there's a part that serves the house, and these two can live together in a good way. It doesn't mean that you have to create a Greek temple solely, and it doesn't mean that you have to create a factory for yourself. It's not just function. It's not just form. It's the mixture of the two. And in this,
I thought that you're going to say a factory for of children.
nah, a farm.
The farm.
Yeah. So yeah, in this way, form follows function gets a new meaning, because form follows function, but function also follows form. So I think should be a middle ground found in the next years in architecture trends, and just settle this two-sided debate and find a road. Or maybe it's actually not a problem, and we just have a perspective that's not looking completely onto the current state of things.
Okay, I have a great idea, a very fun idea. For the next podcast episode, we should do a winery building tier list. Let's collect the most interesting wineries, classical, modern, from all the parts of the world. Let's collect like 20 of the most interesting ones and review them and discuss all of them and make a tier list. And that is going to be very fun. And we can resolve the winery building question once and for all. And then maybe we can get some inspiration for the top winery as well.
Correct. I just added to my tasks.
Noted.
So,
Should we
noted, yes.
Should we work together on the list of the wineries, or should one of us, maybe I should select the wineries, and it would be a surprise for you, the building?
I think we could collect the wineries, the both of us, and then right before the podcast starts, we just put together the things that we found, and then it's going to be a surprise for you and for me, and it reflects it would reflect somehow the views of both of us. So there probably would be like the same wineries would be present in both of the groupings, but there would be some differences, and then those would be interesting.
Okay, I think we could create a list and just write on the list the name of the wineries, so we can see that which winery is already added or not. And before the podcast, we can add the pictures into the tier listing thing to review them. Yeah, okay, this is going to be fun. So that's why you should come back and check out the next episode. And we would like to thank you for listening today as well, and see you in the next one.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.